find happiness, it's on a journey. Even so, what I figured out mostly throughout the obstacles and the hardships is the fact that you have to define what's more meaningful during the losses and even the wins. After failing enough, you realize that you can't play victim anymore. And when you stop playing victim, you start doing something about the failures. From dropping out of college, losing love, in and out of institutions, you learn that those things are training grounds when you change your perspective on life. All those obstacles provided so much insight, it led me to going back to college, completing my degree, becoming certified to counsel, which consists of helping those that deal with anxiety, depression, and all sorts of other disorders that I am profoundly aware of. In addition to all these obstacles and success, all my gratitude goes to that I became a meditation teacher. The breath work and the mind is so important. That's why I'm here today. You just can't take life too serious. One of my soul sisters, she told me, Dr. K, she told me that you have to have some play. What I'm learning is that it balances out the psyche and the attitude.
We have here is a Palo Santo stick. We use these to clear negative thoughts, negative energies. You know, when you're going out in public, you got a lot of evil eyes, a lot of people looking at you crazy. Clears misfortune. It's a shaman tool. Smells good, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. It's fire. Really, when you're around 100,000 fucking people in here, you got all these different mindsets in here, so you're like, dude, how do you think? This helps you think a little bit more positively, according to all that chaos out there. Wish I could actually light it fully though. You think I should go out there and wave this in front of everybody?
Do it.
That'd be like, what the fuck is he casting on us? We should probably go out to the mountains.
Eating taking over the wheels because I cannot drive in the fucking mountains. Yes, sir. What'd you come up with? Anything?
A 30-minute drive to see some waterfalls if you're
Waterfall. I mean, might as well.
They're gonna be going for a long time.
I know. Might as well.
I'll put some gas in.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's go now, I guess.
Walls protect you from what's outside the walls. You can think about it this way. This is a Taoist image of reality. Now, people think about this as a metaphysical symbol. But it's not a metaphysical symbol. It's an unbelievably practical symbol. The Taoists believe that the world, the reality, is made up essentially of chaos and order. Chaos is all those things you don't understand. So I would say that chaos is all those things that exist outside of your perceptual preconditions. What you believe about yourself and other people up to that point is false. And when a revelation occurs that knocks out one of the walls that supports you, and you descend accidentally into chaos, you'll regard that as one of the worst experiences of your life.
Listening to podcasts from the most conscientious individuals like this one, or meditating on my own before talking with someone or meeting them, it helps me prepare, focus, and listen compassionately to the dialogue that I do have with them. That helps me, and ultimately, it helps them. In 2014, I became friends with my anxiety and depression, and that led to me acknowledging and noticing that it was the root cause of my suffering. It preceded my addiction and behavior. When I started meditation, it opened up new ways of thinking. Overall, it psychologically shredded my impurities. After noticing my transformation, I would contemplate the mind state of friends and family that I knew that were also still dealing with their negative emotions and obstacles. It's rough, and nowadays in 2019, 5 years later, after healing and going on retreats and cultivating new ways of thinking, I had an aha moment. It was a vision I had at the beginning of this journey, in hopes of seeing this become a really open conversation, which now has come to fruition. Social media platforms all over are proof that we all are not free emotionally, but that's beautiful, because good karma led Lobsang Manjushri here today to talk about how to remove those issues that we all do share. He has been a monk for 16 years, travels the world to spread world peace, loving kindness, and overall, my favorite, compassion. So tune in, and at the end of this, ask yourself if you listened compassionately to us, or if you just listened.
And since I've been practicing Buddhism for 4.5 years, what I found was one of the main things was trying to purify my mind and overcome the things that I was dealing with, such as negative emotions, bad karma, trying to cultivate good karma. And when I was trying to cultivate good karma, even so, while bad karma was still taking place, it was difficult to deal with. And emotionally, I think you were commenting on that when you were talking. You were talking about our ignorance to how to deal with them. So therefore, that's why we'll never be able to come out of the board. Is that what it's called?
The board, yeah.
Yes.
Traveling on the board.
So like when you're cultivating awareness to anger, the three poisons, which are, what are the three poisons you said?
The attachment and
attachment
and
ignorance,
hatred and greed.
Greed.
Yeah.
Greed is...
Greed, hatred, and attachment.
Would you say greed is one of the most...
The greed is like...
what's that like?
Greed is like... no, sorry. Ignorance, attach, and hatred. These three are the poisons. Like the ignorance, we don't know, the reality. What is the the real? When I say reality, it means like we don't know what is maybe you can suggest what is the good karma, or what do you know? What is the bad karma or the negative karma, positive karma? But sometime through the ignorance, we didn't see the reality and the real meaning of the dharma or the religions. So when we ignorance by something, then we don't know what is how the karmic action working and how the negative emotions are working. So if we know the reality, if we know the understanding, this is like positive karma, this is negative karma, this is how my emotion working, like my hatred, my jealousy, my attachment, desire, this kind of the negative karmas, the negative emotions. If we understand these negative emotions, then we know how we stop these negative emotions.
It doesn't stop, does it? We just learn how to.
It is not stopped by very early, but if you keep practicing and practice again and again, but at one time you will be get like better than the what we call the previous emotions, you know. So when you think about also interdependent, we call the interdependent originations.
I know about it.
So when we call interdependent originations, so it is just connected with each other, like day and night.
That's reality.
Yeah, that's reality, and it is connected with each other. So if your the negative emotions goes down, then your positive emotions going up. You know, so this is the best way you have to learn the dharma. Like,
Seek the dharma.
Yeah, learn the dharma and research and practice the dharma. Like we call the dharmic living, like how we live with dharma. So sometimes we think the dharma is like we just practice for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, reciting some mantras, you know, prayer or something. And so that's the thing. That's the dharma. So that is dharma, but the most important is what is our action, what is our act, how we are acting to people and other things. So when we response good, like
that was right speech.
Right speech, right view, and like you know, sometimes we said we have only one life, but we have to do whatever we want, you know. And the people, they don't think about the next life, or they don't think about the other life, you know. So when we are really learn these things, so it is really helpful. Yeah.
You talked about the realms.
Or realms, yeah.
The 10 realms.
Yeah, actually in Tibetan Buddhism, or you can say the Buddhism, we believe that there are 6 kind of realm. So we call like
these are
the realm, like the kind of form.
Are they thought? Is that
no, where we born, like where we born, and so
what the Buddha's dictum was, it was that life is suffering, and it's very well respected too. So you know, it's like saying you don't have to accept that it's suffering, but at the same time, it's a voluntarily adoption if you do accept that life is suffering. So you know, it's very well practiced too, even medically, because if I'm treating a patient that's, you know, has severe anxiety and they really just can't go in public without having a panic attack, and then I put the welcome out for them to, you know, try to, you know, put themselves in that position to take it on and face it and deal with it with the more so encouraging attitude. They don't actually get, you know, they don't stay fearful. They actually become stronger. And it's kind of interesting because Buddhism, Lobsang, he is going to kind of go over, you know, the 4 Noble Truths, which are very, very well practiced. Even I've been practicing them for a while, and they've helped me, I would say, ground myself when it comes to, you know, my anxiety, my depression, my negative thoughts more so. And it's a cause and effect thing. So I like how he kind of breaks it down on how one can follow that path and remain on it. And it's very interesting because, you know, when you understand that life is suffering, and then you accept it, and then when you identify the origin of your own personal suffering, that's the task. Because when you understand and validate that, you know, my origin, say my origin of my suffering stem from ignorance, hatred, and, you know, delusion. So removing that from myself, you know, can cause a more so clear response to how to deal with my suffering. And that's kind of like how I utilize Buddhism in a sense. You know, Buddhism is a practice. It's not a religion. It's a philosophy. And the interesting thing about that, you know, it's made me like a better person. As in, every day, you know, meditating mindfully at that, and, you know, just trying to embody, like, you know, nature right now. You know, just my position right here on earth. It's kind of interesting because, like, you know, oftentimes you don't pay attention to what's really present. And the funny thing about Buddhism, also, it's not funny, but the interesting thing about Buddhism, what I found out, was that, you know, there are dimensions, and being present is like entering another dimension, because oftentimes mentally, you know, we're thinking about the past while presently standing here, or thinking about the future while presently standing here, and the future is so untouched. So with that said, you're missing what's actually unfolding. And with that said, you know, Buddhism has actually allowed me to kind of activate that dimension so that I can, you know, deal with things that conjure up, and deal with them proactively, with a more so right view, or, you know, positive intention. And, you know, yeah, there are things that, you know, I've been working on. We all work on things that I've been trying to remove from my life still to this date. But the idea of continuously practicing is funny, because even so, you know, Lobsang, he talks about how, you know, when we're trying to be better people, we kind of like go outside. So, like, you know, for example, say, oh, you're like, oh, I wanna have a better mind state, so I'm gonna go to the gym, which is an external crutch. You know, that getting your, you know, physical body is great. You know, we're free from that, but emotionally we're not. And I think it's profound to hear this monk say that, because, you know, those messages aren't like stemming from him talking about his you know, practice, but that's just reality, you know. And, you know, Buddhism focuses on reality, the reality of things, and you know, the fact that, you know, oftentimes we're looking for reasons to be better externally all the time. So we'll get that, we'll desire that, we'll reach that goal, and then we'll wonder why internally we can't understand why it's still, you know, just compiled with, you know, greed and desire. And you want to remove that. Like, you want to remove desire. You don't want to develop the idea that to be your maximal self, that you need to reach it through external things. And that's hard to understand. It's a hard thing to conceptualize, because, you know, it's uncomfortable for most of us. And, like, actually Americans, you know, we don't practice, you know, things like that. We don't, you know, we're more so Christians or Baptists, or, you know, or even, you know, even over here we have Muslims, but you don't really have Buddhist practitioners. You don't have monks just walking the streets and, you know, wearing robes and you know, creating compassion, loving kindness, and peace. So when that comes about, it should kind of like make you think deeply. It's like, why is this monk randomly appearing? That makes me think something's really going on, and they want to come in and kind of, you know, create value to say, hey, there's a better way to deal with things that you suffer from.
We actually there were lots of kind of realm, but the major, you know, the major three realm. So all realm come in this three realm. Like there's a kind of three major realm, God, you know, God realm, and human realm, and
You spoke about the hungry ghost.
The hungry ghost. Yeah.
That realm was
That's the lower one.
That speaks to me because at one point that was how I was, you know, mentally. And when I first started meditating and practicing and seeking the Dharma for refuge, for some reason it stuck out to me because that was the way I was at that time. Would you call that my past life? If someone changes from how they used to be and eradicates bad karma, creates good karma by making good deeds, treating people right, refraining from lying, refraining from cheating, refraining.
Yeah.
Would you say that would be leaving that person, healing that person?
Actually,
you know,
when we talk about like the right view and the right action, right with the right action. So sometimes we faced sometimes so many problems, you know, in this life. I already mentioned, so we are not free of this life because always.
Explain that again.
Physically we think we are free. We can do whatever we want to do. But if we talk about our emotions or about our karma, so we cannot control our mind. Like if we think, oh, I'm going to meditate for 5 minutes, I'm just going to focus on my object. We cannot focus there. Our mind goes everywhere.
And that's not bad, is it?
Actually, if we talk about, you know, through to meditation, so that's not good. But because you need to focus your object in the meditation. So pay attention to what you are meditating on. What's your object? So when you think, when you try to focus, when you choose your object, then you have to focus on your object. But at the beginnings, according to philosophy, there were nine kind of mind level. Like first you set your mind, setting your mind, then you choose one object, and then you try to focus on that object for a while, like just maybe 1 minute or 2 minutes. Then your mind goes out from that object. Then through to your awareness or mindful, you bring back your mind to that object, and then again and again. So when you practice this kind of level and so many times, that at one times then you can, without any practice, you can focus on that object for 1 hour and 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever you want.
Would you say that's like the antidote to kind of being present?
Yeah, like the meditation without practice. Like you don't need to struggle, you don't need to very hard work. You just sitting on just on the meditation posture, or you can just focus on your object and thinking about that subject or object. And you can also analytical, like thinking about the teaching of the great persons like Jesus or Buddha and other bodhisattvas. Enlightened means what they taught and what they taught, and later you can focus on your own emotions, how your emotions
That's
work.
so uncomfortable for people who are ordinarily walking or here. So why is that? Do you think it's because it's the process of having to be with yourself and having to pay attention to yourself, and then try to, I would say, develop a heart again through seeing that side of you, and how is that, like, how do you see that? Do you see that as?
Yeah, actually when someone goes around to you and someone doing something not good or bad around to you but it is very important what is your own thinking, what is your own thought, how you react. That's something very important. And so if you have a very strong focus, or you have a very strong control to your mind, it doesn't matter what people doing outside to you or around to you, they cannot bother to you. But if you don't have a strong focus or you don't have a good control to your mind or your emotions, then
how do you investigate the mind like that?
what is it to help someone investigate their own mind to where they can, because you know, not too many people are familiar with knowing that they can be in control of how they respond to their emotions. And then when you introduce them to,
has allowed me to more so handle things, I'd say on life's terms, without striving to make them the way I want them to be, or you know, having them go this way and then hate it that it went that way, or wanting this or not wanting that, and then disliking this and then liking that. You know, the breath work, man, there's a thing called, that I've been doing for about 5 years, and it's called impermanent nature breathing. And the fact that, you know, things are impermanent is what's interesting, because karma is the only thing that is permanent. And I've learned that from, you know, studying the Dharma, you know, and that, honestly, that's kind of like how I handle things, you know. Say I'm having an anxiety or anxious feeling or emotion, and it'll say that arises in my body. With that said, the impermanent nature of breathing is a anchor to allowing me to respond to that anxiety arising. So how I do that is, you know, the inhale is when you take a breath, okay? Just know that it's not yours, first of all. Because if it was, you would forget to breathe. So the interesting thing about the breath is the fact that it's always there, and it's there. It's there when you're sleeping, you're breathing when you're sleeping, you're breathing when you're walking, standing, you know, running, you're breathing. And you don't kind of understand that, dude, the breath is like, it's really fresh every time. So I forget how many times our heart beats in a day, but it's a lot. Okay, so with that said, you kind of want to have your breath and your heart on the same wavelength and have them align. Because if your heart beats off, then that expresses anxiety. If your heartbeat is beating, then there's something wrong with your anxiety system. That's a real thing, your anxiety system. So with that said, impermanent breathing is like this. So if that emotion arises, anger, hatred, if that emotion comes up, it's like the inhale of the breath. So it arises like the inhalation of the chest. You know, that's until the in breath, and then it ceases like the exhale. So if you put in your mind that, okay, put anxiety on a balloon, and you have the balloon, it's arising, and then, you know, as the breath arises, and then you've got the exhale. So it exhales, and then it ceases. So it's impermanent. It comes and it goes. The anxiety can be gone in seconds. But oftentimes we don't understand that, hey, you don't have to let it become you, because like the balloon, if you write anxiety on this balloon and then you let it go, you understand that it's separate. You know, your anxiety is separate from you, and oftentimes we'll kind of take it personal, and we'll have a personal pronoun around, why am I anxious? Why is my anxiety acting up? Why, you know, just negative things. Why are they acting up? And it's not to take personal. It just isn't. If you think about it, man. Like, these trees, I think Kanye West said it best. He said that, you know, if you kind of understand things, man, a little bit more deeper than you think you know, you know, these trees, they're all out here, and, you know, they're all just standing and growing and whatever you want to say that, and they're all one. That was the main comment I kind of like grasped when he said they're all one. They're not in competition. They're not trying to outdo each other. They're not trying to, you know, express, like, you know, anger towards each other. They're not trying to have the best green leaves blossom with them. They're not trying to do anything. They don't care who's crawling up it or what's crawling up it. They don't care if you're pissing on it. They don't care. They're just there. And it's just being. And with Buddhism, it's more being and less doing. We should be called human doings, because we're always doing something. We're always trying to run away from ourselves. We're always trying to be this and be that, and accomplish this and accomplish that. And we're never just being.
Influence somebody to say, would that be just by showing in your behavior more so?
Yeah. So, so but when you try to, I mean, in beginning, it is not easy to control your emotions. Yeah, it is not easy. But if you practice again and again and again, we call never give up. If you don't give up about your emotions, so at one time you will be perfect to control your emotions. So if we see all of the historical persons, like people, like how they sacrifice their life, even the people, they are what you call. When they sacrifice their life to other people, they against them, and even their practice of compassion and loving kindness, that's really help them and make them strong.
Because it's constructive.
Yeah, that's make them strong and very powerful, and then they can really help to other people. So for beginning, at the beginning, if you think. I am meditating, or I am trying to control my mind, or I cannot, or you just quit that and you left that. So that's not the good thing. You have to keep practice again and again.
What kind of forms of practice?
Because
you walk.
Yeah, you can
stand.
You can
sit.
You can walk. You can stand. You can learn. You can read the story, like the great persons. You can story like. How the great people.
That honestly, that's how I kind of influenced. I started reading doctrines. And I read the Lotus Sutra. Opening and closing. Read it 2 times. It was really difficult. The first time. But I started applying what the Buddha was saying. From all the. Let's just say, there was a chapter in there that really, really opened my eyes when it broke down the eightfold path, the Four Noble Truths.
Four Noble Truths. Yeah.
That really resonated with me because it's true.
That's the fact. Yeah,
it's true.
It's true.
And I'm African American, so why would something like that resonate with me? But it just did, and that allowed me to see that it's for everybody. The Four Noble Truths is important. But what would you say as far as Four Noble Truths? Explain the Four Noble Truths first of all, then I'll go into that question.
Yeah,
starting with 1, 2, 3.
Okay. The first Four Noble Truth is the very important teaching by the Buddha himself, because when he became a Buddha, he became enlightened. So his first teaching is about the Four Noble Truth. So it's a Four Noble Truth he teach to his 5 students in Varanasi, Sarnath. And so the Four Noble Truth, first one is the life is suffering.
And that is actually accepting that suffering is real.
Real, yeah.
It exists.
Exists, yeah. And the life is suffering. And the second noble truth is the cause of suffering.
How do you practice that?
So third is the end of suffering, and the fourth is follow the Four Noble Path. So okay, I'm gonna first when we say the life is suffering, so we don't know the life is suffering. We just faced a very normal suffering.
Ordinary suffering.
Ordinary suffering. But when we go deeply, when we think about, when we attract something, when we have a very strong desire for something, then we think it is permanent. It's bring me happy, it's bring me peace. But if you experience that so long, it's changed to the suffering.
It's ignorance.
Yeah, there's always ignorance. Yeah. So when you understand, oh, this is suffering. Okay, now I understand this is suffering. So, what is the cause?
Which is the second noble truth.
Yeah, there's the second noble truth. So then finally you can find, we call the 10 non-virtue actions, like a 10 non-virtue action and 10 virtue action and non-virtue action. So this is the what is the cause like?
So it can be like the origin.
Yeah, like the mostly we call the causes like about negative emotions or the three poisons, like the three poisons
are
ignorance, hatred, and anger.
Would it? See, I was under the impression of delusion.
Delusions, yeah. Delusion is actually is totally different with meditation. So we said there were two kind of negative emotions, delusions and excitement. So delusions, excitement, yeah. So delusion and excitement is like
it's impermanent.
Yeah, it is impermanent, but when you're trying to focus on something and you can see clearly your object, so there's so many excitement and like that. And sometimes when you're trying to focus on your object and your mind cannot be focused, you just go outside, So that's we call kind of delusions or excitement. These are the two negative emotions who always disrupt to meditation. So do you have to understand? So when you are meditating, then you have to understand. These are the two negative emotions, and you have to
accept that.
Yeah, you have to what we call through your mindfulness awareness. You have to understand. This is
where it is.
Now I understand you.
Through mindfulness. I like how you put that. It's interesting because the cause is when you figure out from the first noble truth. That is because you accept it, right? And
we also said the first true noble truth is the kind of problem, and the second true noble truth is the solution. Like first one is the problem, like life is suffering, and what's the cause? What is the solution? These are the problems. And the second one, the second two, when you end the suffering, then you become enlightened, or you become a better person, or you become a Buddha, like that. And the now question is how you reach that state, how you reach that enlightenment. Then you have to follow the eight noble paths. That's the solution. So first two is the problem, and second two is the solution. You can say like that too.
And they precede each other.
Yeah, they precede each other. Yeah.
You can't like not do one.
Yeah.
It's 1, 2.
1, 2. Yeah.
And they all.
Yeah, that's what we call cause and effect. Cause and effect. Yeah.
I also read that for someone to believe that, they have to validate it in themselves. Because you can't tell me that that's something, because I haven't felt it or put myself through it. Yeah. When you understand through your own thinking or your own mind, then you know, this is like that and that and that and that. Because the Buddha, you said it earlier, the Buddha nature, it's in us all. Yeah, Buddha nature is for everyone. How can you figure that out? By what would you say? You said something earlier that really made me think about when I started practicing Buddhism, because I was kind of confused. I was like, I can't become, or what is a Buddha, or But then I began reading and things like that. Everybody has it in them. They just have to, not necessarily change their life, but just practice the Dharma, and then I think you come to them bodhisattvas. Bodhisattvas, yeah. Bodhisattvas is actually the Sanskrit word. It means the enlightened person, the enlightened beings, or who always working for other people, so other sentient beings. That's the ultimate goal, right? Yeah, their ultimate goal. They just pray for they should be born in samsara, born in this world, to guide people to find the way which is free from suffering or free from this world, the suffering world like that. So I always thought that rebirth meant that I could be reborn again here, right now, in this moment, if I vow to remove negative actions. Is that a thing? Am I thinking correctly? No, for you, if you want to, remove or you want to clean your negative emotion, then you have to practice yourself. There were not any vows. You take vows and you clean your karma. So Buddha himself, he already told like that. You cannot go to a holy place and you say
I'm going to clean my karma.
Action.
I'm going to clean my bad, like a negative life. Negative life. You cannot do that. And like, if we go to some holy beings, like some special people, and they said, "Oh, now I clean you." It's not going to happen, because Buddha himself he told, "You are your own master. You are your own teacher. You have to clean your bad karma yourself. No one can clean you. The other people, they don't have any power to clean you. Even doesn't matter it's a god or goddess and dead isn't anything. They can just only show you the way. They can show you the way, like, oh, this way goes to hell, this is go to heaven, this is go to Buddha state, because they can show you the path. But you have to walk on that path. You have to, take step to that path. So you have to practice the dharma.
The interesting thing about, what Lobsang says, he says something about interconnection and how we are all interconnected to not just other humans, but even to, this balcony that I'm on, and, just the shirt that I'm wearing, how I'm so connected to that. And then it led him to saying that when it comes to interconnection, it's great to understand that if you're someone that, is trying to, let's say, find a path to take in addition to what you know already, as far as, when I mean path, as in, find a path that you can follow, that leads you to, becoming a better you. And he mentioned studying the greats is a great and easy way to do that. And when he said that, it resonated with me, because not only is that what I have done to kind of be better than the person that I am or was yesterday even, but I read a passage in a Buddhism book, ironically, that said, hey, it said to carry the spirit of your mentor. And what that means is, an example would be to, if you have a mentor out there today, right now, you would do well to carry his spirit with you when you're not around him even, or when you're not even talking to him, or when you haven't talked to him in months or whatever. And if you carry the spirit of your mentor, and say your mentor is someone that's like you, but also is someone that overcame what you're dealing with suffering wise, and is doing great, and is a part of, a positive path, and someone you value opinion wise, and someone that you've just developed a relationship with on an expedient level, to carry him in his spirit in your daily walk is interesting, because you can do that. Say, you're having a bad day emotionally, and you're thinking about retreating to things that you would normally do to kind of overcome that bad day. And if you know that your mentor is someone who has also dealt with what you deal with and doesn't retreat, instead of retreating, your mentor probably, acts proactively now. So if you can carry that spirit, when you're experiencing whatever, say you're experiencing, just a dysregulated mood, what you can think about is the fact that, hey, my mentor overcomes these thoughts. My mentor knows how to handle this. And that allows you to kind of embody the fact that you have a choice in how you respond to that more so. Because if you know that there's someone out there that's very valuable to you that also deals with what you deal with, but responds to it differently, that really encourages you to kind of like do the same. So I thought that was really interesting that he mentioned that. And also antidotes, that kind of like help you kind of be balanced.
It's the reality, and you have to clean your own negative emotions or the negative karma. Then you can be the better person, or like what do you call the good person or bad person, right? Or Latin or Buddha, whatever you call it.
How does one stay in that mind state when they do become that? Because if I reach that place mentally,
I'll think that I'm fine. I don't have to do anything else. You know, that's how it is, because you get there and you're like, oh, I'm enlightened, or I'm in some, you know how people interpret it, which I think is really what keeps people from being able to get there. You know what I mean? Or continue the path. Would you say it's a vow?
Yeah.
You know, you have to make, and that is by really every day contemplating.
Yeah.
Good action.
Practice every day, every
Being good to people.
Yeah, good people. Or in simple word, try to help others, try to be nice to people. If you cannot, don't hurt like people like that. This is a very simple words. Right?
It's really simple, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very simple, but sometimes we make it very complicated and we don't know this. We don't know what's the reality. You know the.
But what you say because of what's going on?
What's going on? Yeah.
How do you be mindful to all that?
Mindful to all that. You know, when we talk about peace and compassion and happiness, we try to find outside. We don't know. It's all come from inner peace, inner side. You know, if we talk, okay, now I'm going to practice peace, we only looking outside. We don't know everything is in our mind, in our emotions. If you are happy, then the outside you look all happy. You know, and if you feel yourself very peaceful, then you look outside, it looks peaceful.
True.
True. Like when you wear black glasses, you can see everything black. It is not means like the outside is black, but it looks black.
Looks black, but it's not.
It's not.
So how you see, how you perceive.
Yeah. So same like that. If you practice yourself about your emotions, about your mind, then you can feel very good, and you can practice peace and compassion and loving kindness.
Peace, compassion, loving kindness.
Yeah. These are the main.
Those are the way. That's the way to. I would say, for an ordinary person, if they want to start there.
Yeah.
You know.
You can start from there. Yeah. And try to focus on your mind. Think about your own self, own self, or don't look out. Try to change yourself.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad you were here today, man.
Yeah.
Got to meet you, practice with you, man. And
thank you very much.
Glad you got to be on the show.
Thank you guys for tuning in and just checking out the first episode with the one and only Tibetan monk, Lobsang Manjushri. And I want you guys just to know that, man, the fact that he's on the front lines, I would say, touring the world just to kind of, let's just say, create value with people and spread compassion, loving kindness, and world peace. That's such a underestimated mission that him and his other monk brothers are taking on, and just trying to help, you know, even people like us, you know, getting a grip on our suffering and becoming one with it, and responding to it with a lot more compassion for ourselves and others. But, you know, with that said, you know, he's such a role model, and it was such a blessing to have him on this special episode of, you know, the first episode at that, season 1 of my show, Purified Minds. And I want you guys to take the time out to start and begin meditating, even while walking, standing, and sitting, just so you can become, you know, one with yourselves. And start within. When you're wanting to change your life, you don't look out there. Don't try to grab anything external to help you. You have to go within, and don't let anyone validate that truth for you but you. So thanks, guys, for tuning in. It's Marcus Howard. You guys take the time to subscribe, like the channel, ask any questions you want to ask me. I'm pretty informative when it comes to Buddhism practices, I would say. But at the same time, I don't know everything. So, hey guys, take the time to ask questions and tune in to the next episode dropping soon. You guys be mindful overall, and take care.